We begin with some sobering numbers when it comes to food insecurity in Canada. In its annual report, the Food Banks Canada warning that we have reached a critical turning point as poverty and food insecurity worsen in every corner of the country. Canada received an overall grade of D-, a decline from the D last year. Only two provinces, Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, managed to improve. The rest of the country stayed the same or got worse. CTV's Renee Rodgers is following this for us today. And Renee, what does this new study tell us about hunger in Canada compared to previous years?
Hi, Roger. Well, it's no surprise that essentially what this tells us is that Canadians are worse off, for the most part, from coast to coast. That's according to Food Banks Canada's report card, which looks at the poverty situation province by province and also what governments are doing to address it. Now, some key findings in this report, Roger: almost half of Canadians, or 44%, feel financially worse off now than they did last year. 1 in 10 Canadians lives in poverty. Nearly a quarter are facing food insecurity, and food bank use has risen since 2021 by a whopping 50%. Here is what the CEO of Food Banks Canada had to say.
When we think of Canada, we don't think that a quarter of the people, that includes neighbors, that includes people that go to our kids' schools, are worried about where they're going to get access to fresh, healthy food. They're skipping meals. We hear all the time about parents who skip meals so their kids can eat. This isn't the Canada that any of us want.
And Roger, Food Banks Canada says most governments are not responding with the urgency that is needed in this situation. It has a number of recommendations for Canada and then individual provinces. They range from an immediate groceries and essentials benefit to examining the potential for a national rent assistance program. Roger.
Now, two provinces did improve. What are they doing?
Yes, so a couple of provinces did improve, and those would be Nova Scotia and PEI, Roger. They each improved from last year, and that's after those provinces put a greater legislative focus on poverty reduction and increasing the housing supply over the past year. But if you take a look at Quebec, a C+, that province is doing the best in the entire country. That includes poverty reduction efforts such as strong steps to increase housing, especially affordable housing, and strengthening the rights of people who rent. That's just a couple of things that have happened in Quebec. But still, this report says there is plenty of work to be done both in Quebec and in the rest of Canada. And the report basically indicates, Roger, that without a major intervention, these grades are only expected to get worse.
Okay, CTV's Renee Rodgers, thank you for that.
You're welcome.